For years, you've been told that kindness is the highest virtue, that to be a good person means to always give, to always forgive, to always place others above yourself. And so, you have smiled when you were hurt, you have nodded when you disagreed, you have carried burdens that were never yours to carry. But what if I told you that this very kindness, the thing you were most proud of, has been quietly eroding your life? What if it's not a blessing, but a slow, silent poison? There's a truth most people will never dare to speak. Being endlessly soft is not compassion. It's self-abandonment disguised as virtue. And the longer you stay this way, the more you teach the world that your needs, your voice, your very soul do not matter. Welcome to Root and Wisdom, where we share stories that pierce through the illusions you've been living under, stories that challenge the comfort of old beliefs and reveal the raw, unfiltered truths hiding beneath them. Today, I'm going to take you into a Buddhist story that begins softly, but ends like a lightning strike. It's a story that will make you question the very foundation of how you've been living, and why you've allowed others to take so much from you without asking for anything in return. You might think you know yourself, your boundaries, your kindness, but I promise you, by the end of this video, you will never see them the same way again. So if you've ever felt like life has been quietly slipping through your fingers while you've been busy being good, stay with me until the very last word. And before we begin, subscribe to Root and Wisdom so we can keep bringing you the truths that awaken, challenge, and transform. There's a subtle danger in believing that kindness means never upsetting anyone. When you soften every truth, bend every boundary, and offer a yes when your soul whispers no, you may think you're preserving harmony, but in reality, you're burying yourself alive. In Buddhist philosophy, the middle way teaches us that virtue lies not in extremes, but in balance. Compassion without strength becomes enabling. Strength without compassion becomes cruelty. If you spend your life cushioning others from discomfort, you rob them of growth and yourself of dignity. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do is to let someone fall so they can rise with their own strength. Life demands moments of firmness, a clarity that says, I respect you, but I also respect myself. This is not an act of aggression. It is the art of honoring your own worth. We often think our patience is infinite, but each time we ignore our needs, we add weight to a scale that eventually tips. Your kindness becomes a currency others spend freely, without ever stopping to ask the cost. And when the day comes that you can no longer carry it, they may call you selfish because they mistook your silence for consent. A Buddhist parable tells of a monk who carried a heavy bucket of water for others until his arms bled. Only when he set it down did he realize the river was right beside them all along. Your role is not to be the endless well. It is to guide others toward their own source. By doing so, you preserve your strength and teach them to find theirs. When you finally begin to protect your boundaries, guilt may come like an uninvited guest. You might hear the echoes of old conditioning, voices telling you that self-preservation is selfishness. But in the stillness of meditation, you come to understand. A burned-out candle cannot give light. Self-respect is the soil in which compassion grows. Without it, your kindness withers into obligation, and obligation breeds resentment. By choosing to value your time, energy, and peace, you send a silent message to the world. I am not here to be diminished. I am here to live fully. In this, you are not abandoning love. You are refining it, shaping it into something that nurtures both you and those you care for. This is the quiet strength that lasts a lifetime. There comes a moment when you realize that protecting your own spirit is not an act of rebellion, but of alignment. The world will always ask for more of your time, more of your patience, more of your energy, until there's nothing left to give. And if you have built your life on the belief that your worth comes from constant giving, that moment feels like betrayal. But in truth, it is liberation. In Buddhism, there is a teaching about the cup. If it is always poured out and never refilled, it will soon be empty, no matter how pure its water once was. You cannot keep nourishing others while running on depletion. To serve well, you must first be whole. This is why boundaries are not walls. They are the doors and windows of the soul, allowing in light and air while keeping out the storm. To set a boundary is to say, I value you, but I also value me. It is to understand that real compassion is not about absorbing the weight of another's life, but about walking beside them as they carry it. When you stop trying to save everyone, you allow them to discover their own resilience. That is the kind of help that lasts beyond your presence. And yet, the shift is rarely easy. Old patterns resist change. The part of you that was taught to keep peace at any cost will ache when you first say no. The fear of being misunderstood, of being called unkind, may rise like a tide. But the truth is this: love without self-respect is not love. It is erasure. Every act of kindness must have roots in strength, or it will be blown away by the winds of expectation, so you begin small. You speak your truth in gentle but steady tones. You take time to rest, not as a reward but as a right. You let others face their own storms, trusting that the rain will teach them what the sunshine never could. And slowly you notice the change in your breath, in your sleep, in the quiet steadiness of your heart. You are no longer trying to be everything for everyone. You are simply being yourself, and from that place of grounded wholeness, your presence carries more weight than 1,000 empty gestures. In learning to guard your own flame, you have not diminished your light. You have made it burn brighter. The greatest tragedies in life rarely happen in a single moment. They unfold quietly, day after day, while we tell ourselves we're fine. We silence our own needs for the sake of comfort, or worse, for the approval of others. We avoid the hard conversations, ignore the early signs of unhappiness, and convince ourselves that enduring is the same as living. But the cost of this self-betrayal is high. Every time you dismiss your truth, a part of you fades, until one day you look in the mirror and no longer recognize the person staring back. The danger of ignoring your inner voice is not just regret. It is losing the very core of who you are. When you choose silence over honesty or fear over action, you surrender your life to the slow erosion of what makes it worth living. And by the time you realize it, the years you could have spent in alignment, love, and purpose have already slipped through your hands. The question isn't whether you can afford to make a change. It's whether you can afford not to. Now, the choice is before you. This is the moment to stop waiting for the right time, because there will never be a perfect alignment of conditions. The life you dream of is not waiting in some distant future. It's built in the decisions you make today. Decide to walk away from what no longer serves you. Decide to create space for what breathes life into your soul. Decide to live in a way that your future self will thank you for. Transformation does not demand that you leap without fear. It asks only that you move forward despite it. Every step you take toward truth will feel both terrifying and exhilarating, and that is how you'll know you are on the right path. You don't have to see the whole road to begin. You only need the courage to take the first step. And once you do, you'll see that the world is far wider than the small space you've been living in. The life you've been longing for isn't impossible. It's just been waiting for you to finally claim it. When this video ends, the story doesn't stop. It begins with you. Every word you've heard here is only as powerful as the action you take once you close this tab. You can either let these ideas fade into the background noise of life, or you can choose to carry them into the way you think, act, and decide from this moment forward. The truth is, you already know the areas of your life that feel heavy, the relationships that drain you, the dreams you've buried under excuses. You've felt the quiet ache of wanting more. Don't ignore it. Let it be the spark that lights the fire of change. I invite you to take one small but intentional step today. Write down the life you want in vivid detail. Then ask yourself what you're willing to let go of to make space for it. Share your journey, not just to inspire others, but to remind yourself that transformation is possible. And if this message resonated with you, subscribe to Root and Wisdom so that we can walk this path together. Here, you will find not just words, but tools, stories, and truths that will challenge you, comfort you, and guide you closer to the life you're meant to live. Your story is not finished. The next chapter waits for your hand to turn the page. Don't wait for permission. Don't wait for a sign. This is the sign. Choose the life that calls to you loudly, unapologetically, and without delay.